Is this a call? You're calling again?
Yes,
for a call?
I'm calling.
Eugenie Sage.
This is the title and commencement stage. Mr. Chair, much of this bill is focused on addressing perceived problems with the Resource Management Act in terms of timeliness and cost associated with processes under the Act. But when the Ministry for the Environment's own survey of local authorities showed that 95% of resource consent submission applications were processed on time and only 6% were notified, the bill is a solution looking for a problem. So, Mr. Chair, this bill, in my submission, should be called the Resource Management Implement Ideology and Ignore the Evidence Amendment Bill. Because councils, in making submissions to Select Committee, were concerned that the bill introduced a number of measures that would increase the cost and complexity of decision-making under the Act with both resource consents and policy and plan making. As the Hamilton City Council said, and I quote, "Many of the changes proposed by the bill would result in more complex processes, which appears to contradict the streamlining that is the purpose of the changes." Many of the changes in the bill are too complicated, too prescriptive, and will involve substantially more administration by council staff, end quote. And so, of course, it's the councils which will bear the additional cost of administering these processes, and it will be the councils that get blamed for that, not the minister. And the bill is making it much more complex by things like the 6-month deadline for submissions on medium-sized consents to be decided, and that very complex system of deadlines which is now part of the bill. And it ignores the fact that because in the existing Act we already have councils having penalty provisions where they have to repay to the applicants a portion of their application fees if certain time frames aren't met. It's going to mean that this bill ignores that, and it means that council processes, by getting more complicated, potentially impose extra costs on ratepayers. And it will also be ignoring the evidence, because the Select Committee heard that it's often the applicants that are responsible for the delays, not the council. And when you had councils like the Palmerston North City Council, which looked at and compared the processes for considering an application to the Board of Inquiry, in that case the Tūteretia wind farm, where that was called in, it took well over the 9-month deadline that the Act provides for. It became a very legalistic, adversarial and expensive formal hearing process. When you get the hearings happening at the council level, that's more informal. The community can be more involved. And where you had the Motorimu wind farm, which the Palmerston North City Council considered rather than a Board of Inquiry, it took about the same length of time, but it was much less legalistic, less stressful for the community, less intimidatory, and a better result was reached. So it's provisions like the Sections 88 which impose these time management provisions which make the bill unduly complex and cumbersome, which is why we think that it should be called the Resource Management, another title, More Prescription, Cost and Complexity for Councils Amendment Bill. And as Sir Geoffrey Palmer has noted, the bill at the Act at 796 pages is already twice the length of the RMA when it was introduced in 1991. The additional provisions in this bill, which is a very thick bill, will actually add to that complexity. They are not about simplifying and streamlining. They are anti-environment, anti-community and anti-democratic. And that's why it's a bill that's about ideology rather than the smokescreen that the Minister and the Government have put up around it being about simplicity. It's tilting the playing field in favour of development. It's making it more complex. So 2 titles for the bill would be the Resource Management, Implement Ideology and Ignore the Evidence Amendment Bill, or the Resource Management, More Prescription, Cost and Complexity for Councils Amendment Bill.
Members, the question is a Clause 1 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. So party votes called for. Ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
34 opposed.
Green Party.
14 opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 votes opposed.
Māori Party.
2 in favour.
Mana. ACT New
1
Zealand.
in favour.
United
1 in
Future.
favour.
Brendan Horan.
1 opposed.
Any other votes?
Members, the ayes are 63, the noes are 57. Clause 1 will stand part. The question now is that Clause 2 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. So, party votes called for. Ask the clerk for party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
34 votes opposed.
Green Party.
14 votes opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 votes opposed.
Māori Party.
2 in favour.
Mana.
1 opposed.
ACT New
1 in
Zealand.
favour.
United
1 in
Future.
favour.
Brendan Horan.
1 opposed.
Any other votes?
Members, the ayes are 63, the noes are 57. Clause 2 will stand part.
Mr Chairman.
The Honourable Amy Adams.
Mr Chairman, I move supplementary order paper number 284 dividing the bill.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. I will report this bill with amendment and so divided.
The House is resumed. Mr Chairman.
Mr Speaker, the committee has considered the Resource Management Reform Bill and reports it with amendment and divided into the following bills. Resource Management Amendment Bill. Local Government Auckland Transitional Provisions Amendment Bill number 2. Local Government Official Information and Meetings Amendment Bill. Mr Speaker, I move that the report be adopted.
The question is that the report be adopted. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. The bills are set down for third reading forthwith. Honourable Amy Adams.
Mr Speaker, I move that the Resource Management Amendment Bill, the Local Government Auckland Transitional Provisions Amendment Bill number 2 and the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Amendment Bill be now read a third time.